Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Lori Hoover, and I'm here with the awesome Stacey Casey, my co-host. And we were just talking about the progression that the topics have been taking so far in season 2. And so I thought that the next right thing to talk about is actually following your inner compass, right? Your intuition. And I want to also address the many different ways that can show up for us, because let's face it, it's different for everybody.
It really is. It is different for everybody. It's crazy it's just crazy, like how the intuition hits, or like how you get a download to follow something. You might have heard it, 5 different ways in whatever direction, but when it hits and lands for you, and you're like, oh my goodness, are you serious? Well, I'm going to just do this now, and this is the path, and this is what I'm going to do, right?
Yep. Yeah, and I think that a lot of times we'll get those intuitive hits, but because of fear, which I love to say that I like the acronym that people use as false evidence appearing real, because honestly, that really is what fear is. So, but because of that, or like, I don't know, expectation, or the general consensus of the people in your life, whatever it is, a lot of times we don't follow that. But our lives are meant to be navigated by resonance. So if you are really strongly feeling something that is coming up for you from that internal guidance system that every single one of us has, you got to learn to trust it, because I think that somewhere along the way, most of us were taught to distrust it and to listen to people outside ourselves before we make a decision, when in actuality it is completely the opposite. So,
because if we think of it this way, right, is that most of us, we were taught not to even trust ourselves. So like when it showed up in our lives, we were taught to always be polite. We were taught not to disappoint people. We were taught to fit in, and then we were always taught to follow the safe path, right? And then if you go against the grind and have someone point out, hey, you gotta trust your inner guidance, your whatever your stomach is telling you, usually it's held within your stomach. What is that inner voice telling you inside? And if you're going against the grain, you're like, holy shit, wait a minute, I was not programmed like that. I don't even know where to begin or how to start, or what that even feels like. So today's discussion, I feel like, is going to help you with practical ways, right, of how to trust your inner guidance and how to follow that compass within yourself, and what it looks like and how it shows up for everybody else.
Right, because you're absolutely right. We learn to ask everyone else what we should do before asking ourselves. And I got to tell you, I don't know about you, but like the last time that I ignored that little voice, holy shit, my life blew up. It blew up. And so it's imperative that you pay attention to your Spidey sense, and whatever that is for you, it really is like a Spidey sense, because it's that moment when you just know. You can't explain it, you don't have evidence, but every cell in your body is saying, something isn't right, or go talk to that person, or turn left, not right. Whatever it is.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Whatever. Take the leap of faith and just freaking do the damn thing that you're supposed to do.
Right, because call it intuition, call it instinct, call it your spidey sense like I do. I don't really care what you call it. I just think that we ought to stop ignoring it.
Right.
Because I mean, it's your intuition doesn't usually yell. It's rarely some dramatic thing. It's more like a whisper. Where fear kind of screams. Your ego, I don't know, your ego will negotiate with you and say, "Ooh, no, I don't know about that." Your logic will do a pros and cons list. You know what I mean? But intuition, it feels more simple. It's quiet. It's persistent. And I think that that's why we need to really, really tune into our bodies and pay attention to what is coming through.
I just want to go back a little bit, and we're talking about signs when you're not following your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, a little bit of like tidbits, because I see in some of my friends and family, and some even for myself, that comes up when you feel exhausted, when everything in life looks successful. Like, you're not following those little hits for yourself.
Yeah, for
when
sure.
When you say yes to everything, your body wants to say no. Like, you're overcompensating when your body is like, no, don't do that, and then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. So you take the long way around it, right?
Yeah.
And then in the end, you're like, oh shit, I knew the answer. I asked everybody else's opinion, and then I decided to take the long road instead of, the answer that I felt within myself, because you didn't trust it.
Right. And I think too that, well, I know many people that they want a fucking map. They don't just want a compass that is, kind of guiding you in, showing you which direction is your north. They want an actual map. Go here, do this, turn here, but it doesn't work that way. We get that compass, which is
trying to explain it to people. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, trying to explain, because they really are adamant about the map, and then they get very overwhelmed when they don't have the map. I'm like, dude, it doesn't come with a map.
Right.
Like, it's life.
Yes.
How did you manage to get this far in life without your map?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I mean, it really is, okay, so I have oftentimes related this as a GPS, right?
Yeah.
Because even that, so it's like we're setting the destination. You plug in the address, you type in the address in your car and you hit go. You don't get the map, you don't get the step-by-step instructions. The car, or aka the universe, will figure it out along the way. You have the destination in mind. That's all you need to worry about, and then just trust whatever comes through for you and take the steps that you're guided to.
I love that.
Yeah, and then I think when we make the decisions that we make, stop looking outside yourself and stop asking, well, will everyone approve, or does this make sense on paper? Who gives a shit? Instead, does it?
I don't know how many times I have came to you for questions, and you have said the exact same thing to me. You're like, who gives a shit, Stacey? Just fucking do it.
Well, because, does it feel expansive, or does it feel heavy? Does it feel like this is going to be a good thing for me? Or, am I trying to do the square peg round hole bullshit, which we do so often, trying to make shit work?
Really sitting with yourself, you said a nugget right there. Really sitting with yourself and saying, hey, does this feel heavy? Does my body feel exhausted? Does my nervous system feel like like I'm carrying weight? Or does it feel like everything's light, I have green lights all around me, everything in me is saying, yes, go ahead and do this. Like, there's no fear behind it. Like, you just know exactly what you're doing. And I feel like we really, really have to pay attention to that. And that is the standard.
Yeah, and I think it just kind of feels alive. And one of the things for me that I have always kind of used as my compass was, does it feel expansive, and at the same time is there a little bit of fear there? Because I feel like, without that little bit of fear, it's probably not it. If it feels like it's going to be something simple and it's going to be, I don't know, like a lateral move, then it's probably not the right thing. But yeah, I don't know. I keep saying I don't know, but in actuality, I do know, or at least I have an idea. Like, for instance, thinking about the number of times that you have had something happen and then you'd be like, man, I knew it. I had this feeling. Something told me that, this thing was going to happen or whatever. That's not coincidence. That's evidence. That is your intuition, your inner guidance, your GPS, whatever the hell you want to call it. You did know. You did know on some level. And it's that level that we want to connect with, because that's where the magic really happens. When we start paying attention to what we're being guided towards intuitively, oh my God, that's when everything opens up.
Right. And then you don't know, even like, you might get just a little bit of a download, like a little bit of a hit, and then when you start really following it, you're like, oh my gosh, it leads to one more nugget, it leads to another breadcrumb. Or have you ever had this happen to you where you're listening to the lyrics of a song and then it like coincides with the situation at hand that you're going through, and it has a little nugget in there, and you're like, whoa, I've listened to this song like a gazillion times, and now I'm just really tuning in and listening to the lyrics of the song, and you're like, holy shit, that really hits today. And that goes along with whatever the hell you're trying to build or create or connect to.
Absolutely. In books, I've had that happen as well.
I'm like, get out your highlighters, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to be highlighting some little tidbits here and there,
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel that the cost of ignoring our intuition is much higher than you would think. And I know we've all done it because we allowed somebody to talk us out of doing something, or even a bigger one. We didn't do something for ourselves because we didn't want to disappoint someone else. Or or maybe fear sounded more convincing. But then at the end of the day, when you're on the other side of it and you can see, oh my God, I royally fucked myself by not following,
Yeah.
That sucks.
That does suck when that happens. And then you're kicking yourself in the ass and you're like, oh my God, I knew it. I just fucking knew it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the biggest thing for me is being open to however we can strengthen that signal. So instead of asking something like, what's the right answer? Instead ask, what feels true? Or if fear wasn't making this decision, what would I choose?
Yeah, for real. What would you choose? What would you choose to better yourself in that situation?
Right. And what kind of things can we do to establish a more solid connection with our intuition. And I personally think that it starts with attention. It's well, intention and attention. So setting the intention to be present and to be aware when you're getting an intuitive hit, and then to pay attention to your body when something comes through. I think that those two things are the most important part of this. And there are all kinds of things that we can do to open ourselves up more. We can do meditations, and my God, you can find so many guided meditations and stuff on YouTube and whatnot.
I love YouTube. It's my go-to.
Absolutely.
YouTube is like, yep, if I can't figure it out, I'm like, let's go to YouTube. Somebody else has already created it. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel on it. I'm just going to, stop at something that says yes to me.
Right. Right, because I don't think that our inner compass was ever broken. I think it's maybe been pointing north our entire life, but everyone around us kept handing us maps to places that we were never meant to go.
Right.
So stop listening to shit outside yourself and pay attention to what's going on with you, because your spidey sense isn't a superpower that is reserved for a chosen few. We all have it. Every one of us has it, and it's simply that quiet wisdom that's always been there waiting for you to trust it. And the more you honor it, the clearer it becomes.
Fully agree with you.
So, what kind of things do you do to connect, to kind of hone that, clean up the debris between you and your inner wisdom?
I can think of 3 things right now that I do. I have a selenite wand, so I will sit with my selenite wand when I feel like I'm like super cluttered.
Mm-hmm.
And I will hold that to my chest to like clear my central nervous system, or just to like, I'll close my eyes for a couple minutes or a couple seconds, depending on what it is, and then I'll ask myself a question. I'm like, all right, what do I need to know right now? Or can you just allow, I'm going to open a channel, and I don't say anything, super, it's always super simple, and it's not scripted, and I just kind of flow by the seat of my pants, because at the time I'm like, not thinking of the appropriate words to say or whatever. I just kind of feel what's in my heart, and I speak out loud to myself, and I'll hold the selenite wand. Or what I absolutely love is I have a zinc and copper rods that you can get off of Amazon. I absolutely love them. And I will sit, and like that grounds me, and then I feel like I'm an open channel to listen to that inner guidance that comes through.
Mm.
So those are my 2, like, right off the bat things that I do. Or if I'm in the car, I will just talk out loud to myself, and I can hear the answers in my head. Or I get a feeling, like literally, I will get either cold spots or hot spots on my body, and I'm like, okay, this is where I'm going to do it. And it's like blindly trusting, right? Because you don't have any evidence that it's going to work out. You don't know what the outcome's going to be. And you're literally blindly trusting in the process of following that inner voice within yourself. And you're like, okay, I am going to start a new business. I'm going to, going to, whatever path you're on, and one day you decide, well, I'm going to listen to this, and it told me to create a channel on Etsy. All right, well, if you are someone that is very creative and that has felt the urge to get outside your little network of wherever you live and want to start something online. And if that little voice says, hey, create an Etsy store, or in my case, mine was like, hey, you're going to create a YouTube channel. And I've been hearing this for years, granted, and I have been, literally, I have heard it 4 ways around where people are like, hey, you should create a YouTube channel. Hey, when are you going to start the YouTube channel? Hey, when are you going to have a greater audience because you could reach more people on YouTube and talk longer than on Facebook? And I'm like, oh my gosh, here it goes again, And then when I get to it, they're like, all right, it's not time yet. It's not time yet. I'm like, okay, divine timing coming through.
Yep.
Whenever they tell me to start, like I have I just came up with my tagline for Reflection Massage, and that corresponds to QHHT, that corresponds to YouTube channel, which that took me forever to come up with. But I had to follow my intuition to get to this point. Like, X marks the spot. And what is it? July 18th, 2006, right?
Yep.
Like, it had to all connect. Like, it was a slew of following my inner compass, my inner gut feeling to come to this point and say, holy shit, like, if I wasn't on that path to create this YouTube channel, then I would have never came up with the tagline.
Right.
Because I've had marketers, I've had people that tried to help me, I have people analyze my business, and I'm like, I don't know. And they've came up with words, but it's never completely resonated with me until I found my own words, right? So anyways, long story short, is that if I didn't go out on a limb and follow my own tuition, then I would have never gotten to the point where I've had a tagline, or I've never would have gotten to the point where I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
I needed my tooth fixed because I had an accident with a car. Like, I bumped my front tooth and I cracked it. I had to go to the dentist. And now that my front tooth is fixed, it's, I feel like, I don't know, like, the dentist, like, made the tooth on the opposite side, like, match the front tooth, right? So I feel more confident being on camera now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, everything is just, like, one thing hooks to another, right? And if I, again, wouldn't have followed my intuition, I'm like, oh, geez, I bet you, like, that would have never happened. And how sad is that?
Right. And I want to point out that it is not always some crazy, profound thing, our intuition, I mean, because, like, for instance, have you ever been halfway out the door and suddenly you felt like you forgot something only to discover later that you actually had? Or you ever thought about somebody and then especially somebody you haven't talked to in years, and then all of a sudden out of the blue, they call you?
Yeah.
I mean, even walking into a room and immediately sensing that something was off before anybody even said a word, that's your intuition. It's your intuition. You can meet somebody and you can feel at home with them, or the opposite, you can feel on guard without knowing why. I think I've come across multiple people that I believe that I've been in previous lifetimes with or whatever, and I just think that that's what it is. But it's that inner knowing without having any real evidence, so that's what intuition is. It's those simple things that just show up. And let's face it, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, he didn't get a GPS, he got a tingle, right? His Spidey sense Yeah, his Spidey sense didn't tell him what was coming, but it was telling him to pay attention. Like something's up, pay attention. And I think our intuition works the same way. So it's less about predicting the future, let's say, and more about becoming fully present to what the hell is going on in this moment.
I really like that analogy.
Well, I had to throw in the Peter Parker thing because, I call it my Spidey sense. So that inner compass it's not about making your life comfortable. It's making your life more authentic and obvious. And, those aren't always the same destination.
Right. And it's not trying to make yourself uncomfortable either. Like,
no.
Some people argue about that, but like really, I honestly, it's all worked out in the end, and it is all came to a greater sense of a purpose. When you look back at it, you're like, oh shit, it really did work out.
Yeah, and I have some examples that I really wish I could share, but I don't want to, just because they're very personal to me, more personal than what I think is appropriate on the podcast. But I have had, honestly, some of the most profound shifts that I have had in my own awareness have come on the heel of horrific, painful, so painful circumstances because I didn't listen. And I vowed, after that last one, never again. If my gut is telling me something, you bet your ass I'm going to be paying attention and following it, because absolutely not. I just won't go through some of the shit that I went through again. I won't do it to myself because it was horrible.
Right.
And you can see in, let's just say, if it was a relationship type of situation, whether, that could be a love relationship or a friendship or whatever, and you can see the current state or status of the person, and you can be like, oh my God, man, I dodged a bullet. It could have been way worse if I didn't pay attention.
Exactly.
So I think even too, making your space, your physical space, your home, making it as clutter-free, clean, clear, open, flowing energy type of thing. Even smudging, my God, smudging can be extremely powerful in clearing the space. I think that that's really important, because nothing new can come in if there's no space for it, right? So you have to...
Exactly.
Yeah, you've got to make the space.
Whoever is listening to this right now, like, I just got to download. Instead of using Sage or Palo Santo, I want you to pick up some cedar, because they're telling me that you need to clear your space or smudge your space with cedar. So take that for whatever it's worth. Look up what is the properties to cedar and why cedar could help you. Like, I don't feel like it's a negative thing. I feel like it has to do with your personal situation. I don't feel like it's like a spirit entity, whatever, but I feel like whatever it is that you're going through, you have to use cedar to clear space. So that's my little tidbit for today.
Well, I love that. I love cedar, first of all, but I think that's great. I've never actually heard of using cedar in a smudging process, and I don't know how you would actually go about that. But I love the idea of it. But I have to say too, one situation that's coming to my mind where I pushed against my intuition was when I started doing readings professionally, 11 plus years ago. I used to carry around this little case that had, God, more than 20 decks of cards in it because I always used Oracle decks. And my guides for probably 3 years harped on me to learn Lenormand. And
I remember that.
yes, and they said, Lori, this is all you need. This is it. This is all you need. And I fought against it and fought against it and fought because I didn't want to take the time. I had a lot of shit on my plate at the time, and so I put it off, and I swear to you, when I finally dove in and started playing with them and learning about not only the book meaning, but interpreting them my own way from what I was getting intuitively, holy shit. And I'll never, well, I can't say never because who knows, but this has been the clarity that I get in my readings now since I have made that switch. I remember the first time I was doing a party at a salon, and because I still wasn't really sure about using the Lenormand, I took my little case with all the extra cards, all my Oracle decks, and in the first reading that I did, because I felt unsure, I was pulling some cards from some of those decks, and the lady actually said that it felt much smoother when I was just using the one deck, that it got kind of muddled once I started pulling from the other decks, and that was enough for me. I just left them there in their case, and I just used the Lenormand for the rest of that party and every day since. Now, the Oracle decks that I do have, because I've got over, 260 decks or something, I just use those periodically. I just pull those for my card of the day for the YouTube channel, and I will use some of them because I'm going to begin recording the Zodiac Oracle, the monthly look ahead for the different astrological signs. I'm going to begin that again, and I will use some of them in that along with the Lenormand. But yeah, I mean, it was a good 3 years, and when I finally stopped pushing against it and did the thing that I was being guided to do, my God, it just became so much easier. And here I am now.
Right, here I am.
Yep. And I love my cards. I've got the Ciro Marchetti deck, and they're absolutely beautiful. And not that I need the cards, but they certainly help when people say, oh, I don't know what I want to know.
Right.
Okay. Well, let me get a jumping off point then.
Those are always good to have.
Yes, most definitely. So that's pretty much what I have about this topic. I thought it was really the next right step of what to talk about. And I don't really have anything else to say about it. What about you? Anything else you'd like to share on the topic of following your inner compass?
Get out of your mind. Like, stop thinking, overthinking it, and just do it. Like, there is no wrong and right way. Like, just sit with yourself. Or if that doesn't work, if you get, and you're not always going to get, like, right on a cue, a download, or a subtle hint. When it comes in, they're always spontaneous, right? And you're either in the middle of doing shit, or you are driving along and you listen to a song and you're like, whoa, those lyrics just came out at me out of nowhere. Or you're reading a book and the words on the paper just kind of flew off the page and kind of hit you in your forehead, and you're just like, wait a minute, like, that resonates to me.
Mm-hmm.
Take these suggestions that we're talking about and just kind of pay attention and put it in your pocket, right? Like, and when it does happen to you, instead of second guessing it, because most of us do, we self-doubt a lot of the time, and we're just trying to tell you to pay attention and, see it for what it's worth. Don't second guess yourself and just follow it. What is it? I mean, if it doesn't work out, then what was your loss in it, right? But half the time, when you think, oh, it's going to be a failure, or what is that supposed to look like, or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be, right? 9 times out of 10, it's your higher self trying to give you guidance. And not only that, it moved the needle for you to a point where you were able to connect with someone else, or it gave you a bigger picture from an eagle eye point of view of what that perspective was supposed to look like, or who you were supposed to encounter, or what kind of hardship that you had to go through, because even the hardship teaches you lessons that you're supposed to learn.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And even because a lot of people will be like, well, I followed my intuition and it didn't work out. Well, kind of take it apart and examine it a little bit. Did it really not work out, or did you listen all the way through? Seriously. Some of you will be like, oh, I followed it and it didn't work out. Well, did you follow it to a T? I want to know that. Did you follow it to a T, or did you cheat yourself a little bit? And if you did cheat yourself, then it's okay, but just let's be honest about it, and let's not just sugarcoat it, right?
Absolutely. And I want to say this, that the situation that I was referring to that put me in a space of never being willing to discount my intuition again. A friend of mine, she unfriended me. I mean, quite literally. I'm not talking just Facebook. She stopped talking to me because I did the thing, and she kept telling me, no, it's not for you. It's not for you. But who was she to tell me that it wasn't for me? Because even at the end of the day, even though it devastated the shit out of me, without that experience, I would not be even nearly as adamant as I am today that I will never, ever discount that guidance. Without that experience, I could have just been going along, da-de-da, and blowing off my intuition. No, I needed that experience, even as painful as it was. I needed that to get to the point where I was unwilling to second guess anymore.
Right. It was a hard stop for you. You're like, all right, that was a wake-up call.
100%. 100%.
No one's going to tell me no. In my bones that this is a yes and I'm going to do it, then do the thing.
Yes, and I think part of why I wanted to share that was because I want people to understand that this is not always going to be something that's, peaches and cream. Sometimes you are in the shit when you follow your guidance, but there's a reason for that, because it will strengthen your resolve or fill in the blank, whatever it is that you actually get from it. And they say, hindsight is 20/20. So you get the opportunity to look back and say, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I know why this fucking horrible thing happened, because it was meant to. It was meant to strengthen my resolve not to discount my intuition ever again. And it worked.
I love that.
It's not always fun. And I've heard many people say that this path is not for the faint of heart, and it most certainly isn't.
And then, a lot of people say, well, I went through my awakening. Well, once you're on the journey, I hope you know this, once you're on your journey of going through the awakening, it's just not one time. It's like a ball,
right.
many times over. So,
yep.
especially for the people that are just waking up to the awakening and really seeing things how they are, and they're really questioning things in their life, and they're understanding spirituality just a little bit more than the average folks, right? They think, oh, once I went through this huge, like, oh, I came out of my sleepy state and I'm awakening to the truth, and I'm questioning things, and I'm looking at things from a different point of view, and my point of view is expanding. They think it's done, right?
Yep.
Sorry to tell you, but once you're on the journey, it happens a million times over.
Yep.
Or your awakening goes on and on and on until the day we die, because you're on the journey. You're on the healing process. You're on the process of discovering who you are, why you came here to the earth school, and what do you have to connect with others? Who do you need to help, or what kind of community skill asset you need to be in order to grow as a person, right? And following your inner compass, like, that's just part of it. That is part of it. So I would love to hear from other people, of other viewers listening to us, how following their inner compass has turned their life around, or made something an impossible decision or an impossible hardship, and then once you followed it, where are you now? Like, I want to hear from the viewers some of their stories, and how has it helped them?
Yeah, for sure. And
if you follow your intuition, where would you be now? Holy shit.
Right?
I think I would still be working my retail job and not living an authentic life, and I would be like, I would just not be happy. Honestly, I would not be happy.
Yeah. And I want to add something to that, what you said about that it doesn't stop, because it most certainly doesn't. And so I want everybody to remember this, because be like Shrek. You're like Shrek. You're an ogre. And ogres are like onions. They have layers. And so that's what we're in the middle of doing here. It does keep going and going and going. We peel back the layers every day. So,
every day.
Yep.
And every day something different shows up for us, and every day, or it might be like we're just having a plain day, a normal day. Like Dolores Cannon would say, you're digging potatoes, and every day you're just like digging for more potatoes. But then once you come across that like really big potato, like an event happens in your life, or something extraordinary changes the day-to-day average, like, just pay attention to the inner voice and where it takes you.
Yeah.
Because you never know who you might talk to next. That's my thing. You never know who you might talk to next, and you never know who you might connect to.
For sure. And the universe has this uncanny way of lining things up like that. And I think too that kind of goes back to trusting the process, right? And trusting that the universe is in fact working on our behalf. It's never against us, ever. But right. Here's the thing, no emotion involved. The universe doesn't give a rat's ass one way or the other. It follows and lines things up according to your vibration. The universe does not differentiate between something that we would perceive as good or something that we would perceive as bad. It's just connecting you with what is a vibrational match. And so you need to make sure that what you're vibing is what you actually want.
Yes. Yes.
No emotion there. It's just, okay, this is what you're saying, this is what you're going to get more of, and if you want it to be the good stuff, that's where your point of focus needs to be. And
Yeah.
do that consciously, intentionally. Focus on the good stuff and trust whatever your spidey sense looks and feels like, because like we said in the very beginning, it's going to be different for every single one of us. Mine, I feel like there's a warm hand pressed into the middle of my back between my shoulder blades. That's what it feels. I get a physical sensation of heat in between my shoulder blades, and that's what it is for me. And I just know, oh, something's up. Pay attention here.
Isn't that cool how that comes in for you?
Yeah, and it's been like that from the get-go.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's not always like that. I mean, it's, sometimes it manifests in other ways, but when it's really something like hello, it's almost like you get that buzzing that's going along with it, and then boop, there's the heat. Oh, okay. Wakey, wakey. Pay attention.
I almost feel like it's like, not only the universe, but it's almost like your spirit guide or your guardian angel, like, all right, I'm going to take you out of your everyday bullshit, and I want you to really pay attention to this. So I'm going to place my hand on you so you can get that sensation and that warming effect for you to really say, all right, I need to pay attention to X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, well, whatever it is, however it's showing, well, I guess whatever means it's coming through, the fact that it's coming through in that way at all, because it is a physical sensation, it's extremely helpful. Extremely, because sometimes, you're in the middle of life and we kind of have a tendency to oftentimes become oblivious to shit. So I'm grateful for the fact that it does show up that way.
Yeah.
Turn off the rest of the crap and pay attention.
For sure.
So, yeah, I mean, anybody that would like to share their own experiences, like Stacey said, of what happened when you did follow, what happened when you didn't follow, where are you on the other side of that, and even where are you in your path? Are you new to this path? Are you just learning about intuition or spiritual things in general? Just let us know.
We want to hear from you. We want to know what has happened in your life.
Some of the stories that I've heard just over the course of my own journey and through, my God, especially last season on the podcast, I did, I've met so many amazing people and heard so many different stories of what they went through for their awakening, and it's different for everybody. We've all been through some crazy, crazy shit, and it really does show up in such unique ways depending on where we are in our lives. And so just pay attention. Whatever's coming through for you, pay attention to it. If you feel it in your gut, if your spidey senses are tingling, pay attention.
I think that's great. Well, I think this wraps up this discussion for following your inner guidance, and I hope some of these little tidbits of information has helped you in your personal life and where you feel like you need to wake up a little bit. One thing that I would definitely kind of like leave you with is, I had a brain fart. I hate when that happens.
All right.
This week, when you're following your inner compass and pointing you, are you willing to take the small step in that direction? That's something that I wrote down. I was like, are you willing to do it? Are you willing to say yes to this?
That's the question. That is the biggest question, because it is literally, that's what's going to be the deciding factor. Are you going to let fear, of the unknown or what have you deter you from taking the steps, or are you going to trust that the universe is in fact supporting you and has your back and do whatever it is you're being guided to do? Because that's the biggest thing. You can get the information, you can get the nudge to do the thing, but are you going to do it? Because let's face it, it's not always easy. Sometimes it is the scariest fucking thing you've ever dealt with.
Right.
So be brave to the best of your ability and trust whatever's coming through for you so that you can move forward. And it's such a different way of living when you live by trusting your inner compass, trusting your gut, that intuitive nudge. It's much better.
It is much better.
So yeah, that wraps it up for this week, and we're grateful to anyone and everyone who tuned in, and we hope to see you here again next week as we continue to wake the fuck up.